G'day GameSpot, we're back with another edition of Greatest Gaming Rig, the show where we build an ultra-powerful PC and give you the chance to win it.
This week we've taken a handful of precious components and slotted them onto our beast of a motherboard, ready to boot it up, hopefully getting the rig to post to the BIOS. But before we turn this mofo on, let's take a look at what's on the board.
First up, we've got a single Xeon processor onto which we've placed Corsair's H70 liquid cooler right here.
There it is, it's this rather evil looking thing right here. So this is really cool actually, because as you can see, it's only like a little small circular thing here, a very small, low profile section, but it actually contains the liquid and the pump. So what happens is the liquid comes from the radiator, gets pumped through, round and back into the radiator, so takes the heat out, and then the push-pull fan configuration blows it out again. Keeps it nice and cool, but all in one little compact unit, which I think is very, very cool.
That is neat.
Yes.
Next, we slotted in some RAM. We've only been able to use 12 gig so far, as we'd need both processors loaded to use the full 24 gig.
Yeah, that's right. So you can see our 12 gigs of RAM here. Now, we can't use the full 24 because, like you said, we've only got one processor in, and the way this motherboard works is the RAM is linked to each processor. So even if we plug 12 in now, it just wouldn't detect it and work until we've got the other one in there.
Right, and GameSpot user The Jamin is back with more tech insight on the RAMs. He says, and I quote, "Sigh, RAM timings must be low if they're using 1600. And quoting us, he says, "They might be overkill for gaming, but they should ensure our rig will be able to handle everything we throw at it." He says, "Let's spend that money instead with working out the math to ensure we clear that CPU bottleneck facepalm." He palmed his face.
He did palm his face. Well, there was no need for such face palming because the board itself actually only supports 1600 megahertz RAM. So even if we wanted to stick faster RAM in there, we can't. This RAM, however, if you look at the actual RAM timings, is pretty good. It's rated 88824. As has been proven a million times, though, that's generally quite meaningless. You know, unless they're very, very low figures, but that's pretty good. And the fact is, we'll be able to overclock this RAM. Make it go faster anyway, so it's all good.
Indeed. We also have Corsair's 120 gig Force SSD hooked up to a SATA 3 port for maximum speed, and we've also chucked in a single GTX 460 from Zotac, just the one for now.
There you go, yes, just the one. The reason for that is we want to keep the configuration as simple as possible. That's so that if anything does go wrong, we'll be able to figure, and it inevitably will. We'll be able to figure out why it's gone wrong pretty quickly because there's so few components. So we'll be able to say unplug the graphics card and figure out if that's what the BIOS isn't detecting properly, or if it's like the hard drive, or even the optical drive. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've hooked up the whole lot to our AX1200 power supply. Now this thing is a beast. It's Corsair's top of the range modular PSU. Which is very, very cool. So as you can see here, this is it. It's massive for a start. And you can see it's modular, so we've only got a few cables plugged in at the moment, but you'll be able to plug in as many as you want or as few as you want, which is great. Keeps the case nice and tidy when you're building it. So.
Okay, and it came with a fabulous velour slipcase.
It did. It came with a really, really comprehensive package.
Including the velour slipcase.
A velour slipcase, which is cool, and it's nice that it came shipped in that. When you'd ever use this again, I don't know, because you put it in the computer and you're very unlikely to take that out on a regular basis.
Keep it warm or something, I don't know.
Maybe you could store like socks in it or something, I'm not sure.
Anyway,
but there you go.
Yeah, and then you've got this case with a whole bunch of cables.
A whole heap of cables, so just tons of these things. The modular cables which you can plug in. And they're all wrapped as well, which is very cool.
Okay, cool.
Stuff.
Finally, we borrowed this optical drive from our chums at ZDNet, just so we can get an OS on this thing later. We're going to need one of those.
Yeah, we are going to need one at some point. All right, so now let's try and power this bad boy on. Let's see if we can get this thing going. All right, so onboard power switch on the motherboard, very useful for situations like this. Okay, so we're lit up. It's alive. So what we're waiting for now is something to appear on this monitor, which means we get a post screen, which means it's going to load up into the BIOS, and hopefully it all works. So let's see how it goes. Yes.
Looks about right.
Looking good, looking good. Let's see if I push delete to get into the BIOS. Hopefully it will see everything. You can see our hard drive. Yes.
There
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. So as you can see, we've got into the BIOS, which is cool, which means everything works. It all works together, which is an achievement, frankly. From all these different manufacturers and everything works great. So if we go into standard BIOS features, you can see here our processor, so our X5680 running at 3.33 gigahertz. And below that, you can see our system memory, which there says 12 gigabytes. So that's very cool. So you can see that all running. One of the cool things about this BIOS is you can basically tune everything on the computer, like literally everything. So one of the things it's got is frequency and voltage control. So you can control like all the voltage supplied to the RAM, the processor, etc. So you can overclock it, which is very cool. So we'll be fiddling with that at some point when we're overclocking the machine, and hopefully it won't explode or catch fire or anything like that. It should be good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So don't forget, you have the chance to win this entire rig, complete with its mind-bending processing power and awesome accessory bundle.
All you have to do to win this amazing prize is tell us how much you think the rig would cost in total if you got all the parts at standard price. And as a tiebreaker, tell us in 50 words or less why you think you deserve it.
You can enter the competition over on the site and read more about the build over on the hardware blog. Just head over to tinyurl.com/GSUKPCComp to find out more. To enter, you have to be over 13 and a UK resident, and the competition is subject to our normal terms and conditions. Sadly, it is a UK-only competition, but as user Mardin puts it, payback Americans, I'm so happy right now, on live equals US only, Vindictus equals US only, now this is UK only. Finally, some justice in the world.
One back for the UK.
Apparently, yep.
Take that, Americans. All right, we'll be back again next week where Jane and I will finish putting this bad boy together, get an OS installed and prep it for some hardcore benchmarks. Remember to head over to tinyurl.com/GSUKPCComp to enter the competition and to follow the blog. And log on to facebook.com/GameSpotUK to take a peek behind the scenes of the build. Till next time, happy gaming, spotters.